is writing, so I write across board in poetry.
So I would say, how lucrative is your poetry writing in Nigeria?
By lucrative, you mean if I make money from writing poetry?
Yes, sir.
Well, to be realistic, the money comes in bits. Okay. Yes, in bits, in the sense that if you write for schools, right? Yes. If your target audience is to write for schools, you might end up making the money, okay, right? And you might end up not making the name. Okay. So some of us seek immortality. So that does not mean we don't have things that we have written that is used in the academic sector. We have that, but I don't think I'm writing to please anybody. I think the first thing I do is to try and write from my mind or my soul. If it's accepted by people, I feel privileged. Then if the work should live after me, I'll feel honored. So I feel that poetry sells, because how I market mine, I have some in bookshops. Okay. Lagos State University, University of Nigeria and Nsukka. Sometimes I have people that market for me, but it's not that sometimes the avenue for collecting the money is not like the normal business. Okay. Yes.
So I want to know about this, because I've heard a lot about you. So I want to know, how do you get your inspiration?
Sometimes it just comes. Sometimes it's like asking me how I write. You know, sometimes inspiration just comes. One thing I know is I'm always with either a pen. You know, I have if not because I'm here, and I have pen everywhere, toilet, bedroom, every corner. So I always move about with the pen and paper. I believe in the long hand. You know, so I write down my poems when they come. The typing comes later. Yes, I have what I call seed book. Yes, seed book. So I write down my poems, and that is the first draft. From there, maybe as I read the poems, one or two things come in, I add, I remove, I fine tune, I bring in the crafts into it. So my inspiration sometimes can be the environment. Okay. Sometimes it can be people. Sometimes it can just be a single sentence that I heard maybe in the bus, on the street, from people, maybe inner thoughts, inner feelings, the voice inside, you know, like that. And from there, it ignites the artist in me, the writer in me, and I just keep writing. And I don't really know when I would say the poem will come to an end. Sometimes it just ends like that.
Okay, sir. Thank you for that, sir. So what inspired you? What inspired your poetry writing, sir?
Poetry writing?
Yes.
I think maybe I've answered that indirectly.
Okay.
Indirectly.
Okay. Yeah. That's true, sir. Okay. Let's just move to the next one. Okay. So because this is going to the government, so I want to know, because you are in the line. So I'll say, what has been the government's contribution towards the development of poetry?
Poetry. Yes. I would rather say writing. This liquefied natural gas, NLNG, has the biggest writing prize in Africa. The literary award for poetry, for prose, for drama, for children's story, and also for literary criticism. You know, so the name alone has Nigeria in it, and that is government. So I think that is one area where I think government is supporting, or has been supporting, literature, poetry, prose, drama, children writing. It has been on for a very long time now. And the last one, the recent one, was prose. That was announced this October, last month. I think my only advice or suggestion would be that I always feel that the money is too big for one person. prefer a situation where we have the long list of maybe 11 writers. The people that made the long list should be given certain amounts from maybe the $100,000, you know, not just one person taking the money, at least as a way of helping them to promote their literature or their writing, so that they will have maybe money to publish their works. I think maybe government should have publishing house that will pay more attention to serious manuscripts, literature. I think even at the state level, state governments should also have avenues like that. States should have residency where writers can go and relax and write. After writing, then the works will be published. I also think the same thing should be moved to the university level, the polytechnics, even secondary school. I know there are individuals that sponsor awards in poetry and other aspects. But I think if government is able to expand it, you know, and if government should do that, I think it will help to enrich the literary network in Nigeria.
Yes, I think you mentioned one now, but I just want to like confirm if there is any poetry prize in Nigeria apart from the one.
Yes, there are other poetry prize. There is PIN. Yes, poets in Nigeria. Ariata, there's a man called Ariata Ribabo, promotes that, where they publish even the manuscript. They give money to the best poets and they publish the manuscript. And all the poems, it's a university thing where students in higher institution will submit their poems. Then at the end of the day, they'll have a long list, and all the people in the long list will be published into an anthology. Then the winner will go home with the prize. Then I think there's one that is done in Niger State, BM Zukogi. BM Zukogi was the former general secretary. Then in Mina, I think there are some other places where things like this is being done, but these are some of the major ones that I can remember.
So I want to know: is there any structure? Is there a structure in place for is there any structure in place to facilitate poetry appreciation in the country, like in Nigeria?
Association.
Yes. Appreciation. Like, is there a structure in place to facilitate the appreciation of poetry, poetry in the country? Like people, if you are in poetry, if you are a poet now, is there any structure in place that to show appreciation?
Sorry. Let me come in. Let me answer that question. He's trying to say, is there any structure in place to facilitate the appreciation of poetry? Like for instance, in abroad, poetry is being separated from all other forms of art, and it is being celebrated. Yes. For instance, we have poet laureates all over America. I think in 50 states of Americans, we have poet laureates for each of those states. We also have poet laureates of 9 states in general. Good. So that question is trying to ask is that, is there any
particular one in
this country?
Yes.
Well, I don't think we have it in that form, right? Like they have in US poet laureates that will be there maybe for a year or two before another person will come in. People like Ezra Pond and other people that were once poet laureates. You know, these top poets. We don't have that kind of structure. I think the only thing we have is this NLNG prize, where maybe poets are celebrated once in 4 years during the award ceremony, where maybe you have the long list. And I think that is the only major area where I think poets are really celebrated in any form. But we don't have it the way it's structured abroad. But I just mentioned we have a poetry group. I know there is an association that is purely for poetry. PIN, Poets in Nigeria. Everything they do is about poetry. Poetry recitation, poetry performance, poetry celebration, and residency also in poetry that was started recently.
That answers the question.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
That is the only one that we have presently.
Okay. Thank you. This should be the last question, sir. So it is alleged that writers are uncelebrated celebrities. How is that true, sir?
Well, you know, maybe because of the nature of the kind of work we do, we most times work from the inside to the outside. We don't always face the screen. We need the decks, the pen, the paper, you know, so we work indoors. So, and most times after that, our end product will be maybe the book or books that people will read, compared to maybe an actor, where you have the spotlight, you know, and after that, people begin to watch you and the person begins to grow. So I think it's the same process, but ours, because sometimes we don't even want people to know we're writers, you know, depending on what you write. So sometimes I think that is what has really necessitated the fact that we are not always in the spotlight and maybe we are not celebrated the way we should. But I know that writers are respected, directly or indirectly. Yes, if you meet a policeman and he knows you're a writer, he's careful.
Yes.
If you meet the Nigerian citizen or people outside anywhere, they know you're a writer. They're always cautious and careful when they use words and when they discuss with you, you know, because they always feel that the writer is knowledgeable. Let me put it that way. So that's what I think.
Okay, so thank you very much for your time, and we really appreciate it, sir. So we are through with the questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.